everybody, welcome back to Vinyl Junkie Record Shop. My name is Mike, and today I'm going to show you my most recent acquisition in the collection, and it is one of the most hotly anticipated releases of 2023, and that couldn't very well much be the Vinyl Junkie Record Shop without getting, as said, one of the most hotly anticipated releases of 2023 on vinyl, so it was against my better judgment to throw the money at it that it cost, but here it is. We're talking about 72 Seasons from Metallica. There it is. I opted, as you can see from the hype sticker, for the exclusive Walmart version. Not because, you know, I thought it was anything special, as it was easier to get to Walmart than it was to get to the local record shop to get it, and I wanted to pick it up yesterday. As you can see, it is still sealed. Spoiler alert, I have listened to it several times digitally. So I'm gonna open it up and show it to you for those of you that haven't seen it. If you're thinking about picking it up on vinyl, you know what you're gonna get, what it looks like, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. It's just really unrehearsed, off the cuff kind of review, and it's important to note that I'm gonna talk about it in and of itself. I did not dive deep into Metallica's back catalog before listening to this. Nobody really needs to review or revisit the first three albums. Those stand alone as the holy trinity of thrash masterpieces. And when we talk about what I think of it, it'll be important to note that I want to talk about, as most albums, we'll talk about the product itself for being what it is, and not judging the album on the merits of what the band's done before. So, but anyway, let's take a look at it. It's a gatefold, so I want to try to maintain the integrity of the shrink wrap. So we're going to carefully, as carefully as I can, take the shrink wrap off of it here. And actually, kind of maybe before I do that, I'll take the actual records out and see if I even want to open up the gatefold. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, let's put that aside. Very carefully pull the shrink off, and as you can see on the shrink, it says the new album, 42 years of Metallica in over 77 minutes. And it lists the singles that were released in advance. Lux Aeterna, Screaming Suicide, If Darkness Had a Sun. And then the Walmart exclusive is the Yellow and Black Swirl. All right. So that came off rather easily. Let's first take a look and see what the gatefold is. Oh, okay, that's kind of neat. It's got cut out, as you can see, it's like, it says the number 72, and then that cutout exposes the inner liner. So let's take it out and see what we have in number one. I'm guessing we're going to have, four pictures of the band. There's Kirk, and there's James. And we'll go ahead and take out album number one. I imagine they're probably going to both look the same. And as it says, it's black and yellow swirl. Looks more like maybe kind of a green, but I guess that's yellow. I was hoping maybe it would be a little bit darker yellow, but that's pretty cool. I'm assuming that you can get this in just a black variant also. I think I saw today where if you choose to go to Target, it's a red, some type of a red smoke variant. But there's album one. Put this back in here. One thing I'm not seeing already, and we'll before I haste to judgment, yeah, maybe not. I'm not seeing the lyric sheet. That's bothersome to me. I don't like it when bands don't release the lyrics to their songs. And I rushed premature judgment. There's a booklet in there. So there's Lars, and there's Robert. So pretty gritty looking black and white photos of the band, really standard. And again, just the black and yellow marbled variant. Looks pretty cool. I guess we have to address the album cover itself. You know, when I first saw the pre-release for it, I thought, well, that looks pretty stupid. And it's not. The more I've seen it as the album has been pre-hyped, and now that I actually have it and I have the big album version of it, it's actually it's kind of cool. I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose that the interpretation of what the photograph is up for the viewer's imagination. But as you can see, you've got like the crib and just the M logo up here, and all these instruments and recording devices and various things have all been exploded from the crib, and it's got this kind of blackened, ashy kind of looking tint to all of it. You know, it's okay. It's growing on me, but there's that, and then I did say that there is a booklet inside. The plot thickens. There's like a teddy bear that looks like it's exploded, and a toy drum set and a robot. I'm sure that there'll be lots of different discussions as to what the meaning of all that is. And then there we go. There's the lyric sheet. So no disappointments there. Not really any other liner notes or band photos or anything like that, but that's okay. We're here for the music. Yeah. So overall, a fairly decent package. I think that if you're a vinyl collector, I'm happy already, even though the price. I think that the fact that this might possibly be Metallica's final recording output. You know, I'd like to have this. Decided I'd just like to go ahead and have it on vinyl. So yeah, pretty neat package. I did not purchase the CD. I don't know that I will. If I can get it for, I think Target has it now on sale for like $10. It's probably worth picking up just to throw and have it in the car. Okay, but anyway, yeah, pretty neat package. So let's talk about the music in here. The singles that were pre-released were Screaming Suicide, Lux Aeterna, and If Darkness Had a Son. The leadoff single was Lux Aeterna. Bit of a banger, kind of a short to the point. Had that nice, quick, thrashy pace, and that raw guitar tone that Metallica made famous with their debut in Kill 'Em All. You know, when it came out, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was an exceptional thrash tune, but you know, listening to it now a few more times, because I didn't listen to the singles when they came out a lot. I maybe played all of them once or twice on YouTube, and that was it. I thought it was okay. I like it more now that I hear it now. So yeah, let's just kind of go through this. 72 Seasons, title track. They just recently released this as a single, and when I heard it, I thought it was absolutely amazing. You know, without digging, again, like I said, without digging deep back into the last few albums, because I haven't returned to those albums in quite some time. But 72 Seasons for me is one of the best songs Metallica's put out since the Black Album. Absolutely love the album. It's got a thrashy intro. It settles into that mid-paced riff that Metallica, I think, was famous for giving us. You know, everyone knows Kill 'Em All. They had those Motorhead-esque speed moments that no one was really accustomed to. But it was the slower-paced, mid-paced, really raw and angry guitar tone to those mid-paced riffs that drew me into Metallica. You know, like the mid-paced section of Four Horsemen and Seek and Destroy, those types of things. So yeah, that's on raw display with 72 Seasons. Great song. It's got great riffs in it, and James' voice is in tip-top shape. I want to believe that most of that is all natural, and who knows how much Metallica's relied upon auto-tune in the studio for this album, but his voice seems to be throughout this album to be more like a natural instrument, not in its tone or sound, but as kind of in the rhythm that he's able to enunciate and sing the songs. His voice is about as in tune as his rhythm guitar playing, and he's one of the most solid rhythm guitar players that we've ever seen in metal. So yeah, James' voice is in fine form. I haven't studied the lyrics all that much in depth. There are a few moments and things that I've picked up on that I think are pretty cool. So I probably won't go into too much of the meaning behind some of the lyrics, but really, really great song. 72 Seasons, great way to lead this thing off. Follow that up with Shadows Follow. Shadows Follow is more of a kind of it almost flows very nicely into that second song. The main riffs are all kind of similar sounding. If there is one kind of, I'm not even a complaint, because I don't mind it, because I love the mid-paced Metallica riffs. It almost sounds like there's a variation of one similar riff throughout the entire album. That's okay. I mean, these guys are the originator of the thrash riff, and how much more creative can they really get, given the fact that when they begin to stretch their wings creatively, a lot of the fan base poo-pooed on that, starting from in '91 with the Black Album and everything following. I think a lot of this album is going to be what the band likes to do now, and that's settle into these mid-pace metal tunes. This is not necessarily a thrash album. There are some thrashy moments, but a lot of that nice, solid mid-pace metallic riffing. So, yeah, can't go wrong with that. But Shadows Follow is a lot of that. Would have settled in nicely on maybe Injustice for All, definitely the Black Album. Good song. Screaming Suicide is the third song on the track. I didn't love this song when it was released as a single. Don't know why it didn't grab me. It's not bad. It's got some good riffs in it. It's melodic. It's more or less. I thought it just sounded like more of what 21st century Metallica sounded like, and much like Iron Maiden, you have 20th century Metallica and you have 21st century Metallica. So you've got your granddad's Metallica, and this is not your granddad's Metallica. I miss that Metallica. Yeah, Screaming Suicide, it isn't my favorite track on the album. After that, though, we have Sleepwalk My Life Away, which could, in its title, also the sound of the song, be kind of like a sequel to Enter Sandman. It's got that Black Album Enter Sandman type of riff vibe to it. Nice and heavy, with that more kind of maybe bluesy type of hard rock injection into the Metallica metal. I like it. Good tune. Follow that up with You Must Burn. Again, You Must Burn is probably closely aligned to what you get from the Black Album. It's the slow burner. No pun intended. Well, I did intend the pun a little bit. But You Must Burn is the slow burner on the album, much like... help me out, everybody. That song of the Black Album that sounded like Black Sabbath. Everyone knows it, but I can't come up with it right now because my synapses don't work as well as they did when I was younger. But anyway, that's followed up by Lux Aeterna, which I think song placement wise, it's really pretty cool because you get 72 Seasons, which starts off with a little bit of that quick feeling vibe. Then you got that mid-tempo stuff settling into the nice slowed down You Must Burn, and then you close the first set of songs out with Lux Aeterna, which is the short, quick banger. Lots of stuff to like about that when you really take it in. It takes you back to what it felt like when you heard Hit the Lights for the first time. And I don't think that it's accidental that the last phrase in the song is Light It Up. And the Lux Aeterna translates from Latin into what? Eternal light. Hit the Lights. The lyrics talk about maybe the solidarity of metal fans being at a show. It's kind of what I took it as, and maybe that after 42 years or all these years the band's been together, they're still making music, and that's going to be the eternal flame of their eternal light. Will never be extinguished. Who knows? But it's a good tune. It's a nice solid banger. Follow that up now with, I guess, would be the traditional beginning of side 2. One of my favorite songs on the album is Crown of Barbed Wire. It's just, it's got a really cool riff, and it's got a really memorable chorus, and I just like the way the chorus sounds, and the way all the sound comes together with the low end of Robert's bass and the chugging guitar riffs across that tenor, that growly tenor tone of James' voice with the chorus. One of my favorite songs on the album, Crown of Barbed Wire. Then you have Chasing Light. This is a really good tune. It's one of those songs that it's got a lot of elements in it that you can pick little separate parts of Metallica's entire recording career. Not so much the thrashy fast elements, but this song has a lot of depth and kind of subtle changes to it, really great verses and the bridge going into them, and then just the way the guitar tone sounds as the chorus progresses, and then you've got that really cool Kirk solo over the chugging James rhythm guitar lines. A lot of that going on in this album. There's a lot of shining Kirk Hammett moments in here when the solos take off over these chugging mid-pace metal riffs. Chasing Light's a highlight for me too. Then that's followed up by one of the other singles, If Darkness Had a Sun. When that first dropped, I really thought that was pretty badass, and it's just, again, it's more 21st century sounding Metallica, something that you maybe would have gotten from the Black Album or maybe even Load. Heavy song. It's got really, really great mid-pace, the mid-pace riffage in it. Just that's pretty much the blueprint for this entire album. Too Far Gone, again, another thrash, kind of a thrashier tune. It's got a little bit of that thrash element. The neat part of this song is it's got a couple moments through the verse build up, and then in the chorus where there's James and Kirk have this dual guitar sound that sounds a lot like Thin Lizzy. And I'm sure that, I don't know that they ever really talk about, they've covered some Thin Lizzy tunes. Whiskey in a Jar was one of their big cover hits that went over really well. I'm sure that Thin Lizzy has always been a big influence on the band. But I don't really ever recall moments that sound directly a lot like Thin Lizzy. There probably are. But anyway, that's really pretty cool about Too Far Gone. Some of those twin guitar harmonics that are going on in there. And then it's a good song too. Follow that up with Room of Mirrors, which is it's more of the quicker tunes. It's not super speedy, but it's a little faster pace. And then it has it's got that speedy, that kind of those speedy verses going into the killer crunchy choruses. And then the final track is Inamorata, which is Latin for a female lover, I suppose. And lyrically, this is one of those tunes that it might be of value to a lot of different people who have ever had a troubled relationship or just struggled through a relationship with a female lover. Supposedly this was written about James' divorce. I don't know a whole lot about the band's personal lives, so I don't know, but there's a lot of references to misery and how misery is, we all know the My Friend of Misery. Maybe this could be a sequel to that song, I suppose. But just a lot of that type of reference. Not a whole lot more lyrically going on than the few phrases, those phrases that repeat themselves. And oddly enough, this is the epic song on the album at over 11 minutes, which I guess I was kind of surprised to have it occur to me over these years that Metallica's never had a song of that length. Most of Metallica's longer songs fall around between the 7-8 minute mark. This one's 11 minutes, and I'll be honest, I think if there's any filler on this album, this track and Screaming Suicide to me are a couple of the tracks that I would maybe categorize as filler, and I probably could have done without. I think that Room of Mirrors would have closed this album out really well, but maybe that song will grow on me. I hope it does. I'm sure with it being the epic 11-minute track, a lot of people will say, well, Mike, you're crazy. That's a great song. Well, okay, maybe it is. It didn't resonate with me. Maybe it will after a few more listens. I will say this kind is a grower. The first time I listened to it, I thought, okay, it's all right. I thought kind of, it's okay. Second time, I kind of like what's going on here. By about the third listen, there were things I was picking up on and smiles I was feeling. I was feeling myself smile as I listened to it, and there are a few moments on here that you get that mosh pit angry grin, where you find yourself banging your head and you're smiling, thinking, oh, they just hit the sweet spot there. And there is a lot of that on this album. Now, where does it fit into the band's discography as far as quality-wise? Well, here's the thing. I haven't gone back to a lot of the last few albums. Hardwired to Self-Destruct, when it came out, I remember thinking it was okay. I didn't really immerse myself in that as I probably should have, because just before I came in to make this video, I threw it on the CD player, and I thought, wow, how did I miss out on some of this? The first side of that album is nothing but bangers. Some great stuff on that album. So, not having revisited that and help me out, everybody. The other albums before that, not revisiting those albums. I really kind of thought initially my placement of this would be right after the self-titled Black album. Maybe even before that. The more I listen to 72 Seasons, the more I really do like it. I kind of feel like this might have been more of a transition into 90s Metallica than the Black album was if they had done this after And Justice for All. And I remember when that Black album came out, and I would have been 21 at the time. And I remember where the record store I bought it in Naperville, Illinois. And I want to say around that same time frame, albums like Dark Angel had just put out their last album. Cyclone Temple had just released their debut album under that name. Those were the types of thrash that was still coming out in 91, which was kind of like the beginning of the end of that classic thrash movement, with grunge starting to fire up. But I remember putting on the Black album for the first time and hearing Enter Sandman and thinking, on one hand, oh wow, that's a pretty cool riff, but on the other hand, also thinking, the hell are they doing? This is not the Metallica that I remember, or that I've grown up on. And that's really kind of the vibe that I get with 72 Seasons. It's got some thrashy moments that harken back to Kill 'Em All days. There's not a whole lot of experimentation, but there's not a lot of technicality, I guess, or there's not the depth at all that you get with Master of Puppets and Justice for All. The songs are more streamlined. So again, Metallica is not stretching for originality. I think on this album they've settled into what the kind of metal they want to play. at the stage of their career they're at, and that's, you know, a nice set of those mid-paced, thrashier metal tunes. It's not a thrash album, but it definitely is a heavy metal album. And I like it. So I think that if they had come up with this collection of songs or these style of songs after And Justice for All, it might have been a more natural progression into the Black Album. And of course, the Black Album kind of naturally progressed into even more experimentation with Load and then Reload and Saint Anger. And I haven't listened to Saint Anger in so long that I really couldn't give a fair assessment of it. And then... yeah, it just seems like, I don't know. I just don't. I felt like over the years, none of their later albums have impacted me the way that the first 3 or 4 ever would. And again, not to say that the Black Album's not a good. That's one of the classic metal albums, but it's certainly not one of my. If you stack that up to a lot of what maybe most people would say were mediocre 80s thrash albums, there were a lot of minor 80s thrash classics that to me are still heads above the Black Album. But again, that's just for me. So yeah, overall, I think it's a really solid album. I was leaning toward about, you know, a 7.5 right out of the gate. I think the more I listen to it, it's going to definitely kind of come in at an 8. Could even maybe go a little bit higher. I think that as far as thrash metal goes and young, visceral, exciting metal, I think there are some younger bands out here that are putting out products that are probably, honestly, better albums than this. But to me, this just, you know, as a band that has had its share of detractors over the years, and I'm not a diehard Metallica fan. I've always loved those first 3 albums, and I've always loved Metallica for introducing me to the thrash metal genre. Metallica is just not, I haven't lived and breathed by them, not so much as I do Iron Maiden. So I've probably fallen into that category of one of their harsher critics over the years, hoping that they would give us something more closely related to Master of Puppets. But let's be real. This is a band that has nothing left to prove. They don't have to prove anything to anybody. Their first 3 albums set the bar for what this genre is all about. How do you do better than Master of Puppets? I mean, that's asking a Herculean effort. So I think what you do is you fall into kind of like a groove where you make an enjoyable, fun, listenable album for the fans of the band, and that I think is the best way to sum this up. If you're expecting Master of Puppets, if you're expecting a bunch of thrashy bangers, you're probably going to be disappointed because this isn't that kind of album. But if you're expecting a veteran band to deliver a product that is going to be really fun to listen to and exciting and give you a little bit of that reminiscence of yesteryear, this is exactly it. It's a lot of fun to listen to. You put this thing in the car, go down the road, blast it out. Hope you're going a long way, because at an hour and 17 minutes long, it is a little. It can. It stretches out a little bit. That's where I would have maybe cut a couple songs off of it. But overall, really, really good album. I'm very happy that I invested in it on vinyl, and I'm going to give this a lot of listens going forward. And who knows? Maybe at the end of the year, maybe I will have listened to it enough and gotten comfortable enough with it that it might be one of the top 10 best albums of the year. Is it there yet? I don't think it's in that list yet, but it's a lot of fun. It's very enjoyable, and I think Metallica fans of any era will enjoy it. With Metallica, again, it's really all about where you began your journey with Metallica. If you're like me and you started from the very beginning when this band delivered Kill 'Em All and rose up the ranks to become the standard bearer of what metal would be, your opinions of what they've done later in their career are probably going to have a lot of variety to them. But if you are a younger kid who your very first experience with Metallica was the Black Album, when they kind of blew up to the absolute height of their popularity. And those classic thrash albums are in the rearview mirror for you, then you're probably going to enjoy this album a whole lot more. I don't think any of those people will find anything here to complain about. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Very solid album, very enjoyable. I think most people are going to like it. I'm close to loving it. I mean, it'd be very easy for me to say, yeah, I love this. It's really good. I'm not disappointed in it at all, and I'm going to give it a lot of listens. So hopefully that's helpful. I know I've ran at the mouth a little bit. I tend to do that. Forgive me. You know, again, age. Us Metallica Gen Xers, Metallica boomers. We like to tell our stories. But the story here to tell is that 72 Seasons is a really good, enjoyable record. Gives me the type of joy and happiness that I had when listening to the last albums by great bands like AC/DC and Scorpions, and yes, even Iron Maiden. I think that Metallica's delivered a really good product here. The performances are solid. The guitar work is the James rhythm guitar work is stellar. His voice is stellar. Kirk delivers some really interesting solos here. The bass is solid. The production's overall. And Lars, never being a drummer, it's been hard for me to critique a particular drummer's performances. Lars has never been one of my standout thrash drummers, but his performances here are solid. I don't know that they're anything spectacular, but he's certainly not mailing it in. Everything just has a nice ebb and flow. The songs flow together well. They seem the whole set of songs seem very cohesive and overall very enjoyable. So we'll go ahead and up it. We'll give it an 8 out of 10 for now, with the opportunity for that to improve. So if you're on the fence about getting it and you haven't heard any more of it than the few singles, I would say buy it with assurance. Listen to it with assurance. I think you're all going to enjoy it, and it's a solid, enjoyable metal record from one of metal's classic, all-time great classic bands. So anyway, thanks for joining me. If you're new to my channel, do me a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of the album, and I really appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you next time.